Hello students, I am Nazir Ahmed Khan, PGT Chemistry from KV number 2 GCF Jabalpur. Last time we have discussed in detail group 15 elements. Now in the part 3 of P block, we will discuss group 16 elements. Group 16 is also called oxygen family or chalcogens. Why chalcogens? The different type of ores contain these elements, like you must have heard hematite, copper pyrite, galena, and all these contain group 16 elements. Group 16 elements, if we talk, the first two element is oxygen and sulfur. These are non-metals. Next to selenium and tellurium are metalloids, and the last one is polonium, which is a radioactive metal. Let's talk about general characteristics of 16th group elements. The first one is electronic configuration. Of course, it includes ns2np4. That means outer 6 valence electrons. So, oxygen is atomic number 8, 1s2, 2s2, 2p4, sulfur 16, 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p4. Pass on to next, atomic and ionic radius. If we compare the atomic and ionic radius as compared to the 15th group element, definitely it will be smaller. As we know, from on going from left to right in a period, the size decreases, but down the group the size or atomic radius increases. So, the trend is same. Let us talk few more properties. Ionization enthalpy. What is ionization enthalpy? Energy required to take out the outermost electron from a gaseous atom. So, if we talk about the 16th group elements, the first ionization enthalpy is lower as compared to 15th group. Why it is so? Because in case of 15th group elements, p orbital is completely half filled. In 15th group element, we have seen the configuration ns2 np3. That means p orbital was completely half filled, which was extra stable, and therefore the ionization enthalpy was large. But in this case, we are having ns2 np4. That means the ionization enthalpy will be lower. But if we talk about the second ionization enthalpy, that means after removing the first electron, the case becomes reverse. The second ionization enthalpy of 16th group elements becomes higher as compared to 15th group elements. Pass on to the next, electron gain enthalpy. That means if the atom gain one electron, what happens? Due to the smaller size, oxygen has less negative electron gain enthalpy than sulfur. However, from sulfur onward, value again becomes less negative up to the polonium. Size of oxygen is less, so electron cannot be added easily. Next is electronegativity. We know the 17th group elements are the most electronegative, and out of those, the fluorine is the most electronegative element. In 11th, we have studied these things, but here we are comparing with the 15th group. So, of course, it will be the larger than that of 15th group, and down the group the value decreases. Of course, oxygen is the second most electronegative element. Let us talk about oxidation state. The common oxidation states are -2, +2, +4 and +6. They are having 6 valence electron, they need 2 more electron to complete the octet, so -2. And if we talk about according to the general electronic configuration, ns2 np4, so if it is losing the 4 electrons, so +4, 2 more, +6 and so on. Due to inert pair effect on coming down the group, as we have seen in the 15th group, stability of which oxidation state increases? Lower one, because ns2 electron do not take part in the bond formation. The same trend is in 16th group. Pass on to the hydrides. That means on reacting with hydrogen, the 16th group elements form what type of compounds? They form E2H type or H2E type. Of course, they will form H2E type. E is the element. You can see H2O, H2S, H2E. That means water, hydrogen sulfide and so on. If we talk about the properties of hydrides, oftenly questions are asked on their acidic character, thermal stability and bond dissociation enthalpy. Down the group, as the size increases, the bond length between the E and H element atom and the hydrogen will increase. So, the bond dissociation enthalpy will decrease, thermal stability will also decrease, but the acidic character increases as hydrogen can easily be available. Pass on to the next, oxides. That means how do they react with the oxygen? They will form different type of oxides, EO2 and EO3 type. Say for example, sulfur, SO2 and SO3. Other element will also form TeO2, TeO3 and so on. Let's talk about different type of oxides. There may be different type of oxides, simple oxide as you have seen, calcium oxide, magnesium oxide, or mixed oxide, red lead Pb3O4, it is also called Sindoor, Fe3O4. They are mixed oxide. On dissociation they form two different type of oxides. Aluminum oxide, which is an amphoteric oxide, in 10th also you have studied, it react with acid as well as base. But mainly if we talk about basic oxide, that means they react with the water and form the base. So they will be from the alkaline earth metals or alkali earth metals. Acidic oxide, p block elements mostly react with water and form the acid. That means carbon dioxide react with water giving you H2CO3, SO3 react with water giving you H2SO4, SO2 react with water giving you H2SO3 and so on. We are talking about amphoteric oxide, that means which react with acid as well as base. Aluminum oxide, if react with HCl, it will give you AlH2O whole 6 3 plus, or if it react with NaOH, sodium hydroxide, Na3AlOH 6. So it can react with acid as well as base, indicating its amphoteric nature. There are few other type of oxides also which are neither acidic nor basic, rather they are called neutral oxides. One more question may be asked. These are CO carbon monoxide, NO nitric oxide and 2O nitrous oxide. I hope you know the other name for nitrous oxide, N2O. Yes, that is laughing gas. Let's talk about halides. That means how do the 16th group element react with halogens? They form different type of halides like EX2, EX4, EX6. Out of these, two important halides are SF4 and SF6. SF4 is sulfur tetrafluoride, SF6 is sulfur hexafluoride. Oftenly the question comes on their hybridization state and shape. In case of SF4, it is sp3d and the shape is seesaw shape. The shape becomes different due to the repulsion of that lone pair of electrons. In case of SF6, it is sp3d2 and the shape is octahedral with the bond angle 90 degree. Hybridization, you can find out one simple formula, number of lone pair of electrons plus number of sigma bond, that we have studied in 11th. Let's talk about the different compounds of 16th group element. The first one is oxygen. It can be prepared by different methods like the decomposition of potassium chlorate KClO3. On heating it gives KCl and oxygen. It is also prepared by hydrolysis of sodium peroxide Na2O2, or it can be prepared by the electrolysis of water. If we talk about the properties of oxygen, so it is colorless, odorless gas, highly soluble in water. It has three isotopes, O16, O17, O18. Boiling point is lower, 30 Kelvin, freezing point 15 Kelvin. It reacts with metals as well as non-metals except gold and platinum because they are inert. And on combining with acetylene, it gives you oxyacetylene flame, which is used for gas welding. If we talk about its reactions, it gives number of reactions. Phosphorus on oxidation gives you P4O10. Different hydrocarbons like methane can be oxidized into carbon dioxide and water. SO2 can be converted into SO3. HCl gives you chlorine and water. Pass on to the next compound, ozone. Of course, its formula is O3. If we see its structure, so it is having resonating structures. On one side it is having double bond between two oxygen atom, other side having single bond, which is a coordinate bond actually, and the two different structures are converting into one another because these are resonating structures. So the bond length will be equal between two oxygen atoms in both the cases due to resonance, and molecule will be stable. It can be prepared when dioxygen is irradiated with UV light or silent electric discharge, so oxygen can be converted into ozone. Let's talk about the properties of ozone. It is a strong oxidizing agent because it liberates atoms of nascent oxygen. Question comes, why it is strong oxidizing agent? It provides you the nascent oxygen, which is highly reactive. When it react with excess of potassium iodide solution buffered with borate, iodine is liberated, I2, and of course which can be titrated against a standard solution of thiosulfate called hypo, and this method becomes the base for the quantitative method for the estimation of O3 gas. That means what amount of O3 is present, that can be estimated by the titration of iodine produced in by the reaction of ozone with Ki, and that iodine is titrated against hypo solution. If we talk about sulfur, so sulfur is found in different forms, different allotropic forms. The two main allotropic forms are yellow rhombic sulfur, alpha sulfur, monoclinic sulfur, beta sulfur. Both rhombic and monoclinic sulfur have S8 molecules, a crown shape as you are observing here. When sulfur allotropes heated alone 1000 kelvin, so form S2. Oftenly we see that sulfur is S2, though it is S8, but when it is heated above 1000 Kelvin, then it is converted into S2, which is paramagnetic. Why it is paramagnetic? Because it gets attracted towards the magnetic field, of course due to what? Presence of unpaired electrons. Pass on to the next compound, SO2, sulfur dioxide. It is an acidic oxide because with water it gives you H2SO3, sulfurous acid. It can be prepared by various methods. If you heat sodium sulfite with dilute H2SO4, so you get SO2. Let's talk about its properties. With chlorine it forms sulfuryl chloride, SO2Cl2, and moist SO2 acts as a good reducing agent also. Example, Fe3 plus is being reduced to Fe2 plus, MnO4 minus having oxidation state Mn plus 7, it is being converted into Mn2 plus. It is good reducing agent. In refining petroleum sugar also it is used. In manufacturing of sulfuric acid, calcium hydrogen sulfide and various other sodium metabisulfide is used. SO2 is also used for bleaching wool and silk. Its structure is more or less similar to ozone, that means having resonating structure. Next compound is sulfuric acid, H2SO4, very important compound. It is also called king of chemicals because it is a chemical which is used everywhere in all the industries and in our day-to-day life for number of substances which we use in our day-to-day life. In their manufacturing, sulfuric acid is used. Though its preparation has been deducted this year, but in short we can see it is prepared by contact process in which sulfur is converted into sulfur dioxide, and this sulfur dioxide is oxidized to sulfur trioxide, and by which you can get the oleum, and finally by the diluting oleum H2S2O7 you get the desired concentration sulfuric acid. Yes, it is known as king of chemicals. It is very strong acid, strong oxidizing agent, as well as it is a strong dehydrating agent. Yes. Let's talk about the different oxo acids of sulfur. What are the different oxo acids? H2SO3, H2SO4, H2S2O8, H2S2O7, H2SO5. What are oxo acids? Oxo acids are the acids in which along with the oxygen, hydrogen, oxygen is also present. That means oxygen containing acids. In 15th group also we have seen different oxo acids of phosphorus H3PO3, H3PO4, oxo acids of nitrogen HNO3, HNO2 and so on. Here we are discussing about the oxo acids of sulfur. Their structure are important, oftenly asked in 1 mark. Draw the structure of H2SO3 or H2SO4, H2S2O8, which is also called peroxodisulfuric acid or Marshall's acid, H2S2O7, which is also called pyrosulfuric acid or oleum. In this case, 1 mark question is oftenly asked, what is the number of hydrogen atom replaceable in case of H2SO4 or H2SO3. So, in case of H2SO4, what do you observe? They are having 2 hydrogen replaceable. So, it is diabasic. And likewise, H2SO3 is also diabasic. In 15th group, we have discussed about basicity of H3PO3 and H3PO4. H3PO3 is not tribasic, it is diabasic, but H3PO4 was tribasic. It depends on number of replaceable hydrogen atoms. So their structure are important, you must note down them and learn. Okay, now we pass on to the assignment questions of P block. Different type of questions are asked in CBSE board exam. Multiple choice questions are asked. 15th and 16th both group we can discuss. Say for example, strong reducing behavior of H3PO2 is due to. The 4 options are given. Low oxidation state of phosphorus, presence of 2 OH group and 1 PH bond, presence of 1 OH and 2 POH bond, high electron density, so on. So such type of MCQs are asked. You need to practice such type of questions. So of course the answer is third, presence of 1 OH group and 2 P-H bonds. Which of the following element does not show allotropy? Nitrogen, because nitrogen triple bond, it is quite stable. Maximum covalency of nitrogen is 4, we have seen already. Which of the following statement is wrong? So of course it is an assignment, so you need to practice these assignment questions. The first one, if we see nitrogen single bond is stronger than phosphorus single bond, of course it seems to be wrong, because phosphorus single bond is stronger. Fifth one, brown ring test, we have discussed. A brown ring is found between the junction of 2 layers. What is its formula? The first one, FeH2O5NO2+. Sometime question comes, draw the structure of the various compounds like H4P2O7, H2S2O8, H2SO5, H2S2O7. That means the question comes mainly from the structure of oxo acids of phosphorus and sulfur. Sometimes difference between red phosphorus and white phosphorus is asked. Monoclinic sulfur, rhombic sulfur is asked. And of course the preparations are also asked, like that of ammonia by Haber's process, nitric acid and sulfuric acid, phosphine, though sulfuric acid and phosphine has been removed from your syllabus this year, but you need to learn about Haber's process and Ostwald process for nitric acid. Reasoning based questions are mostly asked. How will you account for the following? So you need to learn the different reasons. Of course you can discuss yourself and you can write the answers for these different questions. Say for example, fifth one, if we discuss why both nitrogen and bismuth do not form pentahalides while phosphorus does. Because nitrogen and of course due to inert pair effect, bismuth will having the lower oxidation state more stable, but in case of nitrogen, no d orbital, so non-availability of d orbital, it cannot expand its valency up to 5. H2S act as reducing agent, but SO2 act as both reducing as well as oxidizing. You find out the oxidation state of sulfur in both the cases, you can solve it easily. In case of H2S, it will be -2, and in case of SO2, it will be +4. So beyond -2 it cannot go, but plus 4 can be converted into plus 4 as well as plus 2. Different other questions, HCl6 is not known, SF6 is known, NO2, SF6 is known but SH is not known. So such type of reasoning questions we need to prepare, oftenly asked. We are discussing about H3PO4 is tribasic, H3PO3 is diabasic. Sometime arrange the following type of questions are asked: increasing base strength, increasing acid strength. So you can arrange them. Base strength depends on the availability of lone pair of electrons, and acid strength depends on the distance of hydrogen and the distance of hydrogen and element. That means how the bond length. Larger is the bond length, easily hydrogen will be released, more will be the acidic. It's your assignment, you will write the answer. Complete the reactions, how the chlorine react with NaOH, phosphorus react with NaOH, copper dilute HNO3 or concentrated HNO3. One more type of questions are also asked assertion and reason type. That means they give you the 5 options. Both assertion and reason are correct statement and reason is the correct explanation. Both are correct but reason is not the correct explanation. Assertion is correct but reason is wrong. Assertion is wrong but reason is correct. Both assertion and reason are wrong. Accordingly you have to choose either 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5. So for example, if we consider nitrogen has more electron gain enthalpy than phosphorus, HNO3 makes iron passive. Reason HNO3 forms a protective layer of ferric nitrate on the surface of iron. So different type, question 3, 4. So you need to find their answers. This much for today. Thank you so much.